Good afternoon, everybody. Dr. Jake Shuppe here. Excited to go over part 3 of the Align Your Health book study that we're doing this month. It's been a fun journey so far. So a couple of weeks ago, we started with part 1, where we went through chapters 1 through 3. That was really focusing on mindset, philosophy, and chiropractic care. Because remember, there's 5 essentials that we're going through with this book. So this is the book, Align Your Health by Dr. B.J. Hardick, if I can get it in the screen here. And it's been fun. We've been learning a lot. That was the first part, was chapters 1 through 3. And then last week we did chapters 4 and 5, which was Eat Well to Live Well, and Innate Movement, which talked about nutrition, talked about exercise. Part 3, we went straight to the back of the book, and we are going over the appendices. So Appendix A through G is what I'm going to be covering today. And I skipped 6, 7, and 8 because the appendices, or appendices, they put the nutrition and the exercise component together. So I thought it made the most sense to go right there. We're going to get some practical tips of how to make the core plan and the advanced plan work, as well as understanding the workouts a little bit more. So if you guys are on today, show me some love on here. Say hi. Let me know that you guys can hear me and that you're with me. So there we go. Got some people on here now as well, and we'll get right into this. So the first section that we'll start with is Appendix A, which is first, it's called Making It Work. And that's going to go over the core nutrition plans. We'll go over the core plan and the advanced plan and kind of cover the differences with them. I wanted to start off with a quote on here. And this is from page 159 of the appendix. It says, "We aren't looking at the things that cause immediate illness or keep us from turning out fine." We don't want to just turn out fine. We want to be super healthy. We aren't looking at the things that cause immediate illness or keep us from turning out fine. We're concerned about the slow accumulation of interference from all sources that build up over time and lead to major health concerns. See, that's a great understanding. That's like, oh, just because you don't die of, poor nutrition habits today doesn't mean that it's not going to cause sickness, disease, diabetes, cancer, or early death later on down the road. So we got to keep all the small choices that we're making in mind as well. So Appendix A starts off with 3 steps, baby steps. I was talking with Dr. Christie about this on the way to the office today. It's like, hey, gosh, like people in our office now, they've been here 3, 4, 5 years. Hey, Connie, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us today. And we got people in the office that have been doing this for 3, 4, 5 years, and there's still so much to be done. Like, we've been living this max living lifestyle for over 10 years now, coming up on 11 years, I think. And it's like, we still have things that we haven't implemented, because implementing all 5 of the essentials to the nth degree, it's like a never ending process. But we just got to understand, we got to make progress every single year, and it's baby steps. You're not going to do it all at once. Doing it together, having a community of people that are doing it all together. That's what's so great about, book studies like this. And that's what's so great about having your family under care, and, having your spouse under care and doing this stuff. Because guess what? You're going to be a lot more successful if you've got people that are focused on their health around you to keep you on track when you get off track, and for you to help them do the same. And then just keeping at it. Number 3, it says keep at it. It's a long-term game. It's a process. You're going to mess up, and then you just get back on the trolley and you start working on it again. So I like those steps. I wanted to cover those. It's a process. What is the differences between the core plan and the advanced plan? What's up, Becky? Thanks for joining us today and hopping on here. Always good to see you. Core plan. So last week we talked about nutrition some. We got our macronutrients are carbs, fats, and proteins. So I'm going to read this from the book. This is page 161, fats. On the core plan, this is eat more healthy fats. Yep, you got to have a lot of healthy fats in your diet if you want to be healthy. Eat more healthy fats and eliminate all damaged fats. Remember, there's healthy fats and then there's damaged fats. We're eliminating all the damaged fats. Protein. If consuming animal protein, always select from organic and naturally raised sources. So clean protein, lots of fat, moderate amount of clean protein, and lower carbohydrates. Eat more vegetables, eliminate refined grains and sugars. So that's the core plan. And the core plan and the advanced plan are very similar. The core plan, you can still have some grains and some sugars, but you got to eliminate the refined grains. And I like this little bold quote at the bottom of page 161. It says, "This is not a diet." I don't even like the word diet. In fact, I hate the word diet because to me that signifies something that you're just doing, just like short term. I talk more about a nutrition plan or like a lifestyle. And that's what it says here. This is not a diet. It's a lifestyle of wellness and a better relationship with food. Doesn't that sound a lot better? I think our mindset on even the words and the verbiage that we use are important. So we got the core nutrition plan. It's got the lists of, and I'm not going to go through all the lists. Thankfully, it's got the breakdown of like, hey, these are the foods that are going to be your low carb, high fiber vegetables. Those are the things that you load up on the most. On both of the plans, core and the advanced plan, you're going to load up on your vegetables. And the high fiber, low sugar vegetables, these are great because they are going to help you load up on them. They help you get full. There are lots of fiber, there are lots of nutrients and antioxidants, but they're not going to have a huge, they're not going to have a high carbohydrate load, so they're not going to spike your blood sugars. They're not going to cause you to gain weight. You need that roughage, you need the good fiber. So loading up on those any time of the day for the high fiber, low sugar vegetables. And it goes over your low sugar fruits, moderate sugar fruits, and high sugar fruits. On the core plan, it allows some of the fruits. The advanced plan, as we're going to talk about in a little bit, you're pretty much cutting out almost all fruits because fruits still have what? A decent amount of sugar. So on the core plan, you've got your low sugar fruits, Granny Smith apples, lemons, limes, and berries. Those are good throughout the day. Better earlier in the day. Then you've got your moderate sugar fruits, and I'm not going to read through all these, but things like kiwi, oranges, melon, pears, other types of apples like your red apples. These are moderate sugar fruits. On core plan, consume in moderation, but not after lunchtime. So lunchtime or breakfast, but later in the day, you don't want to be eating a lot of carbohydrates. So in moderation with the moderate sugar fruits. And then the higher sugar fruits, you really pretty much want to stay away from. Unfortunately, these are the things that people like the best because they're the sweetest. Go figure. Pineapple, grapes, dates, papaya, bananas, mango, watermelon. These are high sugar fruits. I recommend staying away from them. But on the core plan, it says very small portions of these. Definitely earlier in the day, definitely lunch or before, not after, or after an intense workout is when they're acceptable. But in small portions, you're not having these every day for sure because there's tons of sugar in them. So if you want to maintain your hormonal balance, you want to maintain your blood sugars and your weight, you're not eating these high sugar fruits like bananas and pineapple and mangoes. So that's some of the fruits on the core plan. The grains. So core plan does allow grains. And these, but not refined grains. So you're not eating white flour or wheat flour. And I mean, really even whole wheat flour isn't the best, but some of these ancient grains are going to be decent, like quinoa, like millet, buckwheat, brown rice, oats, wheat, if it is whole wheat, wild rice, barley. These are going to be some healthier grains that you can consume in moderation. Again, you don't want to be having these late in the day, and you don't want to be eating grains every single day either, even on the core plan. So this is the language we want to start using. So in Max Living, it's the core plan and the advanced plan. And the way that I think of it, because I'm a chiropractor and I have a chiropractic mind. So the core plan, that's like your wellness plan. That's like you're maintaining your health. It's a healthy way to maintain where you're at. The advanced plan, that is like corrective care. That's like intensive care. So like if you got a bad spine and you really need to make progress really, really fast just to get it into a decent spot, that's like the advanced plan. So the core plan is like your wellness, like long-term maintenance eating plan. That's how I like to think about it. All right. So healthy fats and proteins, got your nuts and seeds, your nut butters, coconut, your oils. That's one thing that I do want to spend a little bit of time on here is the oils, because these are super, super important. So best oils that you're going to consume is going to be your extra virgin coconut oil, organic, extra virgin olive oil, and avocado oil. Olive oil, super, super great. I've never heard anybody argue that that's unhealthy for you. So this is something that's been agreed upon for centuries, super healthy oil. However, you don't really want to cook with it, or if you do, just lower temperatures, best for like salad dressings and making your own of that. But olive oil, amazing, healthy fat, and consuming good amount of fats. My favorite oil to cook with right now is avocado oil. That is one that you can get to higher temperatures. Coconut oil, you can, not quite as high as avocado oil, but again, you want extra virgin, organic coconut oil, olive oil, and avocado oil. And there's some other good oils in there too. Other ones like hemp seed oil, flaxseed oil, walnut oil. However, you do not want to cook with those at all. You don't want to raise the temperature, because even those healthy oils can become rancid. And then you've got your clean proteins. Remember, when it comes to animal proteins, you want organic, you want very clean, pure sources. How they're raised plays a big impact on your health. And then dairy, this is like this could be like a whole like 3-day seminar just talking about dairy, but I'm going to try to keep it simple with dairy. The easiest thing is to eliminate it, because you can get healthy dairy, super healthy dairy, but it has to meet a laundry list of specifications to be super healthy. I do consume dairy, but minimum for the Max Living nutrition plans is organic and full fat. That's bare minimum. Organic and full fat. You want the fat because you start ripping, they pull the fat away. You got a no fat dairy product has a higher concentration of sugar, plus you're ripping out all the nutrients, all the fat soluble vitamins. That's why if you're doing dairy, you need full fat dairy. It's going to have more nutrients. It's going to have a lower blood sugar impact, and it's going to be better, because remember, you need fat to burn fat. So that's with dairy, I will tell you the specifications. So if you can find all these, then it's going to be the best. If you can find an array, you just do your best with what you can find. But you've got organic, 100% grass-fed, grass-finished. Then you've got not raw. Raw is best, which means like non-pasteurized and non-homogenized. And then also, here's the kicker, which is probably one of even harder to find potentially, is A2. The type of cattle, the type of of genes that the cows have is important. A lot of cows today in America are A1 cattle, which have a gene called which make milk that has A1 beta casein in it. That's found to be very inflammatory. It's even been called the devil in the milk, which causes a lot of different health concerns. Without going too far into dairy, if you do get dairy, you want to get it from A2 cows. Very difficult to find, but just remember, the easiest thing is cutting out dairy completely. Otherwise, bare minimum, it's got to be full fat organic. I try to simplify it as much as possible because there's so many things that dairy is in, like cheese, yogurt, of course, milk, and there's a lot of things that is part of most people's everyday routine that could be really hard to just give up right away. So that's the scoop on the core plan. Remember, that's like your maintenance healthy eating plan. Then we go into the advanced plan, and this is very similar. You're eating lots of healthy fats, moderate amount of protein, and even lower sugar intake, even lower amount of carbohydrates. So on the advanced plan, you're eliminating all grains. You're eliminating most fruit, except for like berries, lemons, limes, and you're eliminating all sugar, like refined sugar. So how do you know if you need to do the core plan or the advanced plan? Well, here's a list of things, of indicators where you might want to do the advanced plan. Blood sugar issues, diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, hormonal imbalances, obesity. Like, you need to lose weight. If you need to lose weight and you want to lose weight fast, you're doing the advanced plan. For how long? Until you reach your health goal, until the disease is conquered, until a certain point. And then once your health goal is hit, then you can start introducing some of the fruits, and you can introduce some of the healthier grains again. It gets a little bit easier to sustain. Then you move into core plan after you've hit your health goals. Some other reasons you might want to do the advanced plan is just you've got a lot of inflammation, you've got digestive issues, immune system or autoimmune system issues, including cancer, cognitive, brain or thinking disorders, and chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. Any type of symptom, disease, or condition that you're trying to overcome, including weight loss, then the advanced plan is going to be the plan for you. And this is typically done in short-term bouts. Now, some people do well doing advanced plan long-term, and they can just keep it up. But for most people, you're doing, a couple of months or until you've reached a specific health goal, and then just kind of move into core plan eating, and you get a little bit more flexibility. The advanced plan's pretty strict because, you're cutting out sugars. One tip I'm going to throw in here with this is, if you are doing the advanced plan, when you cut out sugar and you're cutting out grains, you might not feel the best like the first week, because sugar is like a drug and it's addictive, and it affects your body. So like when you don't have sugar for 5, 6, 7 days, you might feel like crap. You're like detoxing from that. But don't worry, that usually only lasts, between, what I found is probably 7 to maybe 14 days. I think between 7 and 10 days, most people, by the 1 week mark, people have already gone through the worst of it. And then boom, you're feeling like maybe a little crummy or a little bit sluggish. You're getting some malaise or some headaches. You're detoxing. That's normal. You got to understand that. Then once you get to the 1 week mark, typically people are like, it's like a whole new you. You're like, you have energy. It's getting easier to avoid those bad foods. You're like craving more healthy foods. You're sleeping better. You got more energy. It's awesome. You can notice a difference. A week in, I've people doing the advanced plan, they're losing 5, 10. My dad lost 13 pounds in 1 week doing the advanced plan. My mom lost like 9 or 11 pounds or something like that doing the advanced plan. And we see this with hundreds thousands of our patients over the last decade that are losing lots of weight very quickly on the advanced plan, making some of these changes. One special note with the protein intake on the advanced plan, you're even going to monitor your protein a little bit more closely, because too much protein, let's say you're doing high fat, you're doing super low carb, but your protein numbers are creeping up pretty high, then you might not be losing the weight that you want to, because too much protein excess protein goes through a process called gluconeogenesis, which means you're creating sugars out of too much protein, and then sugar can turn into fat and you're not losing the weight. So if you're super low carb but you're still too high on the protein, that could be causing weight loss resistance. Just good thing to know. So advanced plan, very similar to the core plan, except for you're cutting out even more. You're cutting out all the fruits and all the grains, even the healthy grains. Remember, load up on the vegetables, lots of healthy fats, and super low carbohydrates. Pretty good stuff, huh? Well, that's going through the first two appendixes, which is Appendix A and B. Appendix C goes through navigating through the grocery store. So not a whole lot in this section that I want to cover. A few things, though. It goes through the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. What is that? Well, there's certain commercial produce that has very high pesticide loads, and then there's certain commercial produce, meaning non-organic, that has the way that they're raised, they don't use a lot of pesticides. So those are okay to consume and buy non-organic, and those ones are going to be on the Clean 15 list. And this is a list put together every year. They update it from EWG. So you can just type it in your phone when you go to the grocery store, or now, or whenever you want, and you Google Clean 15 or you Google Dirty Dozen. And the 2000 and what year is it now? 2020. So your 2020 list is going to be updated. And it changes slightly. They're pretty similar year to year, but one might go on, one might go off. So the Clean 15, those 15 foods have a low pesticide load. Those are okay to buy non-organic. The Dirty Dozen, however, super high pesticide loads, like must be consumed organic if possible. If cost allows you to do that, which it's worth it with these ones. So I'm going to read off the Dirty Dozen on this list. And this book's a few years old now, but a lot of these still apply. Strawberries, spinach, nectarines, apples, peaches, pears, cherries, grapes, celery, tomatoes, sweet bell peppers, regular potatoes, and hot peppers. All these that I just listed off, these are on the Dirty Dozen. Absolutely want to buy those organic. So if you want the updated list, you can go to ewg.org, or you can just Google Clean 15 Dirty Dozen. That's an important list to know when you're navigating around the grocery store. You want to avoid GMO foods. That's also important. The most common GMO foods are alfalfa, papaya, yellow squash and zucchini, and sugar beet. I don't personally eat papaya or sugar beets. I don't really know where you get alfalfa. So the ones that apply mostly to me, and probably you, is going to be the yellow squash and the zucchini. Definitely want to buy those organic because they're mostly GMO. You guys learning something? Getting some good stuff out of here? If you learned something or you're liking this, give me a thumbs up, give me a wave. Let me know you're out there. A few of you on here having a good time. Hope you're doing well, Becky. All right, let's keep rolling. We got to talk about sweeteners. So a lot of people think that if you're going to eat healthy, that It means nothing's going to taste good. You're not going to be able to have any sweets, and you're not going to be able to have, that sweet tooth craving. Not true. And here's why. Almost any food, including ones that are typically healthy or unhealthy, they can be modified and made into healthy versions of them. Most foods, even including comfort foods, also definitely desserts. And the way that we make healthy desserts without using sugar is using natural sweeteners. However, the 0-calorie or low-calorie sweeteners, they're not all created equal. Some very common ones today that you have to avoid are the artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose. So things like Equal, NutraSweet, Splenda, 0-cal. What's another common one? Those are probably the most common ones. They're either aspartame or sucralose. Those pink or yellow packets that you see on like the restaurant tables. Stay away from them. Laundry list of health issues. I think aspartame has over 93 different health side effects from it, including like seizures and like dementia. So I don't know about you, but I want to keep my brain intact. So avoiding aspartame and sucralose is important. Just because they're 0-cal doesn't mean they're not going to kill you down the road from accumulation. Avoiding the simple sugars, even things like raw honey and maple syrup, yes, natural. They're still like 98% sugar. So these aren't things you're going to be wanting to consume, especially if you've got, weight to lose or health concerns to conquer, which most people do today. I think like 60% of America is either overweight or obese. So very special occasions like a vacation meal, or if you don't have any health issues and you don't have weight to lose, just using them very sparingly. But they're not, even honey and organic maple syrup are not on either of the plans because they're 98% sugar. Raw honey does have some medicinal properties as well, but not using it often is going to be the best for you. Some other things to avoid: agave, avoiding cane syrup, cane sugar, molasses, corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is the absolute worst, but all of these are pretty much pure sugar and going to cause a lot of inflammation and destroy your health. So what can you use? What do we use to sweeten things? The best sweetener is going to be stevia. It's a herb. It's a plant. It's like 300 times sweeter than sugar. My personal favorites are going to be like the pure stevia leaf powder and the liquid. I think the liquid's easier. It dissolves easier. So like a liquid stevia, especially like mixing into drinks and sweetening like different drinks and stuff like that. You can bake with it. The other great sugar replacement that's going to be a natural sweetener, big one today, is going to be Lakanto. I think that's a brand though. It's like a combo of monk fruit and erythritol, which is a sugar alcohol. Sugar alcohols are also on the list. There's like xylitol, erythritol, xylitol. Now you do have to be careful. Some people have some digestive discomfort with the sugar alcohols. So highly encourage you to, if you haven't tried them before, use them gently or in moderation until you know how your body responds to them. But the sugar alcohols, the Lakanto, which is like your monk fruit, and the stevia, you've just got to play around with recipes with them and sweeten to taste, sweeten to your liking. Hey, Clara, thanks for hopping on. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Good to see you. So just went over the sweeteners, because you can have great sweet treats and satisfy those cravings with a dessert that could be, high fat, sweetened naturally with stevia or erythritol or something, taste delicious, feel like you feel like you're doing something wrong, but you're actually eating something really, really healthy. So that's good to know. So that's the sweeteners. Oils, going back to oils again, oils to eliminate, canola oil, that's a really bad one. I know it's been marketed as a healthy oil, but that's a very rancid, genetically modified oil that you do not want to consume. Canola oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, poppy seed oil, corn oil, vegetable oil. These ones eliminate. These are not on either of the plans. These are rancid oils. Also, oils to moderate, meaning you can have some of these, but you don't want to be eating them all the time because they're going to be a lot of omega-6s, and most people have way too many omega-6s and not enough omega-3s. Some oils to moderate are going to be sesame oil, safflower, sunflower, and grapeseed oil. I do like cooking with grapeseed oil sometimes. You can actually get up some pretty high heat on this stuff without making it go bad. And then again, oils to include. I already went over the oils to include, but the top ones are going to be avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, and extra virgin coconut oil. I also personally, my other favorite in the household is grass-fed butter or organic grass-fed butter. Butter is awesome. And remember, fats are important, and I can't say this enough times because people have been so brainwashed the wrong way. You need fat to burn fat. Your brain needs fat. Your nervous system needs fat. The most important organ in your body, your brain, is composed mostly of fat. So if you aren't eating a lot of good, healthy fats, you're starving your brain, and your ability to burn fat will be decreased if you aren't eating enough fat. So both the core plan and the advanced plan, any healthy eating plan, most of your macronutrients need to be coming from fat. I know this totally flips the script on how, 20, 30, 40 years ago, the FDA told us how we need to eat, but how's that working out for us? Not well. People are sicker and more diseased and more overweight than ever before. So let's do something different, and let's start lowering our sugar intake, clean proteins, lots of good fats. All right, we're getting there. We're in Appendix D now. So this is kitchen essentials. I mean, there's just a few things that I want to cover in this, not like the longest section for sure. I'm going to just read over the list of things here. Slow cooker, pressure cooker, having a large stock pot, cast iron skillets, food processor, blender, spiralizer, having a steamer, a food dehydrator, a good set of knives, immersion blender, stainless steel water bottles, reusable food storage containers. Make sure they're BPA free. And there's a couple others, but that's the list. Couple that I do want to highlight is I love crock pots, especially with how busy we are, and how a lot of people are. It's super fast. You chop up some veggies, you throw your meat in there, maybe a little bit of broth, and you can throw your healthy fat in then or later. Boom, just put it on, depending on how long you're going to be gone for, 4 to 8 hours. Throw it in there, go to work. You come home, it smells good, it's cooked. You don't have to watch it. Boom. And you don't have to make dinner at the end of the day. You can just do a few things to throw it together in a crock pot. I love them. And you can almost hardly mess up a dinner in a crock pot. So I think a crock pot is a kitchen essential. Probably the most important one, in my opinion, is a blender. I still today, all the supplements and stuff that we take and promote, and there's people like weight loss. The best way to lose weight is making smoothies. Like, it's easy, it's fast. You just throw all your stuff. So I think having a high quality blender is of utmost importance, and not just for smoothies, but you can make soups, you can make sauces, you can make desserts, and then of course the greatest smoothies. I think everybody should have a Vitamix blender. I'm partial to the Vitamix. I think it's the best blender. And people there's different blenders, but I think you need to invest, a few $100s. Yeah, sure, you're going to pay $300-400, but it's going to last you forever, has a great warranty, and it will just completely smooth everything out. They're light, they're frothy. When I when I was in chiropractic school, I got a message on my phone that my apartment was on fire. And thankfully it didn't burn down or anything, but I thought it was. And I was like, my first thoughts in my mind were, oh no, I got to get some things out of my apartment. And I only cared about two things. And one of them was my arthrostim, which I adjust you guys with. And the other one, my Vitamix blender, because I didn't care if everything else could get burned. But as long as I got my Vitamix and my arthrostim, like, I was going to be happy. So I think a Vitamix blender, or just a very high quality blender, is going to be one of your kitchen essentials for sure. Making smoothies, they're fast, they're easy, they're super healthy. And I don't know about you, but nothing bothers me more than making a healthy smoothie and then you get like a chunk of spinach. It's like you're thinking that it's going to be this smooth, creamy thing, and then there's like all these chunks of like kale or like a stem or something. It's just enough to make you want to pour it out. So you got to get a good blender. A spiralizer is also a good kitchen essential tool. You can like spiralize zucchinis. You can spiralize sweet potatoes. It really changes the texture. It's kind of like they call them zoodles, zucchini noodles. You can even put pasta sauces and stuff on them. And it's a great way to get some raw veggies and have some cool new texture to them, like a noodle. Food dehydrators, these are great. So you can do sprouted nuts, you can do different fruit rolls. I don't do the fruit rolls because I stay away from fruit for the most part, but I like to dehydrate nuts and make like kale chips and things like that with the food dehydrators. That's pretty much all I want to say about the kitchen essentials. You can read through the rest of them, but those are my favorite on there as well. All right, we're finishing up. Hey, Keisha, what's up? Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you agree. We got to be doing something different. We're moving into the last section here. So this appendix, actually, it's not the last one. We got a couple left. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So some simple swaps for everyday life. And a few things in this section that I like it just to mention is if you can grow your own food, that's even better. And for a lot of people, that might not be feasible depending on where you live. But something that is super easy that I want to encourage a lot of people to do is grow your own herbs. Or you can plant a few vegetables, maybe some raised beds, maybe in a windowsill, maybe on a back deck or something, even if you don't have like a yard. But herbs, they don't require a lot of light. They're super easy to grow. You can grow them indoors even if you want, but like you can grow rosemary, basil, cilantro, all these things, tons of health benefits to them. They're easy to grow, and they can really zest up like all sorts of different dinners. They can zest up your salads a bunch, and they're super, super healthy. So if you can do some, container vegetables or some patio vegetables or like raised beds outside too, if you're picking them and they're fresh, they're going to be even healthier. It talks a little bit about water. Clean water is important because, you do not want to be drinking tap water. So best would be if you can get it from like a natural fresh spring. That's going to be like have great minerals, but also be super, super pure with no toxins in it. However, that's difficult for a lot of people. My personal opinion is doing a reverse osmosis water system, or you can even do like a whole home filtration system. Yeah, you're going to pay a pretty penny for that, but it's worth it in the long run if you can make an investment in a whole house filtration system. A lot of chlorine, a lot of other chemicals, medications even that get flushed through the waterways that don't all get filtered out. So you definitely want to avoid tap water. Even having a shower, if you can't get whole home filtration, you got to do at least like a shower filter and get filtered water that you're drinking at a minimum. Let's talk about exercise. So Appendix F, it's the quick reference exercise guide. And in Max Living clinics all across the country, we teach a type of exercise called metabolic conditioning, sometimes called surge training or burst training. And we have a program called Max T3. Many of you have done it with me. Every month we do a Saturday Max T3 workout, and many of you have the program, either the old DVDs or the online version now. And Max T3, it stands for time, type, and tempo. And you can vary these 3 T's, like how long you're going, how intense you're going, which movements that you're doing, for a varied response. And as we talked about in the last week's chapter 5 and 8 movement exercise section, that these cause, the reason these are so great, it gets so much oxygen into your tissues, and it elicits a hormonal response. So improving your testosterone and your human growth hormones while keeping your cortisol, which is your stress hormones, low, for great fat burning and great muscle building ability. So this quick reference guide kind of tells you how do you actually do the workouts. Like if you don't have the program and you don't buy that, which by the way, it's only like $19 or something. So it's very affordable. But if you don't have that, how do you do these types of workouts? Well, on page 189 of the Align Your Health book, it tells you how to do it. So how to surge train. Here's an example. 20 seconds of intense movement, 20 seconds of rest, and then repeat that 3 times over. Like in our Max T3 super fast workouts, I think we do 18 rounds. So we do 6 movements 3 times in a row for a total of 18 rounds. It only takes 12 minutes to do a workout. So it doesn't take a long time, but you're working very, very hard. The goal is to get to 80% or higher of your maximum heart rate. And a lot of like watches, like I got like a Garmin Triathlete watch. A lot of people have the Apple Watch. The cool thing today is it's easier than ever to calculate where your heart rate is at. But if you really want to get into this surge mode, this type of metabolic conditioning, you want to get your heart rate up to at least 80% of your max heart rate. And if you want to calculate what your max heart rate is, you've got the old formula, which most people know, but it's 220 minus your age. That is your supposed max heart rate. So 220, I'm 34 years old, so 220 minus 34, my supposed max heart rate is 186. Is that exact? Probably not, but it's a good starting point. So 186 is my max heart rate. So if I got to get to at least 80% of my max heart rate, then that's going to be about 149. So for me, I know I got to get up to at least 149, and my watch will tell me. So when I'm working out, like if I'm just running in place really, really fast, or whatever movement that I'm doing, sprints, walking uphill, running in place in the pool, swimming laps, a stationary bike, a stepper, an elliptical, any other piece of cardio equipment that you could use, you can get your heart rate up into 80% or higher of your max heart rate. So an example would be doing that for 20 seconds. Like you run in place 20 seconds as fast as you can, rest for 20 seconds, repeat that 3 times, and you get your rest period. It says between 1 and 4 minutes of rest based on exertion and skill. Repeat for 5 to 6 exercises. Well, that would be a very basic. That would be a very beginner workout. I mean, I rarely, if ever, have you guys rest for 1 to 4 minutes afterwards, because you're getting the 20 seconds rest in between to bring the heart rate down. But if you're a beginner, yeah, you can have the longer rest period in between there, because everybody's got to start somewhere, right? And so that's one way that you can do your surge training, your burst training, get that oxygen into your tissues. And remember, this is essential number 4, which is oxygen and exercise. You can do the same. So strength training, you can do these same type of high intensity workouts with weights. So, you can do curls, you can do overhead presses, you can do, pull downs. You can use these same type of concepts with weight training to still, build. You're going to get more strength, but you're still going to get that, hormonal response. You're still going to get that high heart rate and fat burning ability from that. Now, you're not going to be doing heavy weights. These are going to be some lighter weights that you're doing faster reps so you can really get your heart rate up. And if you want to do these, you follow the example in the book here in Appendix F. That's one way. Or you can join us for our monthly Max T3 class, which we do in person and sometimes online. Or number 3, you can get the Max T3 program, which many of you might already have. Those are the 3 ways that you can start implementing these workouts. And I kid you not, if you're not working out at all right now, even just doing 3 days a week, 3 workouts a week for, let's say, it's a total of 15 minutes. So 15, 30, 45 minutes a week, 15 minutes a day for you to 3 days a week, you can start to see considerable results. It'd be better if you did it, 6 days a week, but even starting with 3 days a week, you're going to see big changes pretty fast within a couple weeks. So I want to encourage you to start diving into Essential 4, which is oxygen and exercise. One other thing in this section that we did talk about last week, but I just want to hit again, flexibility. Super, super important to be stretching. And I don't know, I think I think as a kid, younger, kids think stretching is only for old farts who are super stiff and they can't move. But stretching, flexibility is I'm a huge believer ever since football in high school, how important it is, increases, just warming up the tissues, stretching the joints, getting the blood flowing, and really the reduction of injury is important. But I'm a huge proponent for flexibility, especially in today's age, because so many people are sitting and they're sitting, and then they're like this all the time. They're hunched over. We've got to stretch the anterior muscles. We've got to strengthen more of the posterior chain. So work on strengthening the back, the traps, the lats, the posterior delts, pulling, with backward motions, but then stretching the anterior and opening this up so that we don't walk around end up hunched over people like this with all these health issues. We need to stretch more here, anterior, strengthen posterior more with our workouts so we can have great posture, great spines, great health. That's just my 2 cents. So it talks about flexibility. The last and final section is meal planning for success. Candidly, I will say I don't do a good job with meal planning. We do eat healthy in the Shuppe household most of the time, the majority of the time. However, we still don't plan and prep meals really good. So I did get some good advice from this section as well. So it recommends meal planning for the week, for 1 week at a time. Prepping, doing a lot of meal prep on Saturdays and Sundays when you typically have more time off, and then getting all of your groceries and stuff set up for the week, and then doing some really simple meals Monday through Friday, utilizing leftovers for lunch, just making some easy things, simple salads, simple smoothies, eggs, great go-to foods, and having your snacks planned, and then trying some more, elaborate or some little bit more, time involved cool recipes on the weekends when you're going to have more time. I was like, man, I really need to do some better meal prep. Not that we don't eat healthy during the week, but I end up wasting a lot of food that doesn't get used, unfortunately, like vegetables and stuff. And it's always painful throwing food away and wasting money. Two last things I want to mention before we finish up here. One of the cool things that this is basically the updated version of the Max Living Nutrition Plans book, but so the updated on the nutrition, then it adds in all the other essentials. One of the things that this book talks about that the old Max Living Nutrition Plan book does not talk about is food sensitivities. So one thing that's important is food rotation. You don't want to be eating the same foods every single day, week after week, year after year, because and it's easy to get stuck. When you got your go-to foods, that's a good thing, but you do it for too long, you can actually become sensitive to healthy foods and have like almost like an allergy, or like almost have like an immune response, an allergic response, or a high sensitivity that can cause problems to your body if you eat too much of the same foods too often. That's why I'm a proponent of getting a food sensitivity test done. And then you eliminate the foods that you're very sensitive to for a while. And then after a while, sometimes you can become non-sensitive again. You can start to introduce those, and then you rotate through them so you're not building food sensitivities. Definitely encourage food rotation because of that. Last thing that I wanted to mention is it talks about a little bit about intermittent fasting in here. You've got one tip is to keep your hormones in check is not eating after dinner. But you know how we heard, forever, like eat 3 square meals a day, like 3 square meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then there's these other, diets that say, no. You got to have 5 small meals a day. Well, I am not a fan of the 5 small meals per day. I don't think that fits into an innate driven lifestyle. It spikes your blood sugars more. Your hormone levels go up and down and up and down. And it's kind of like a roller coaster ride. Has it worked for people? Yeah, but it does affect your hormones. Your hunger hormones, your leptin, your ghrelin. It causes you to be hungry more. It doesn't tap into the fat burning stores. People who eat 5 small meals a day, they're not great fat burners. So I'm more of a proponent of eating less meals per day. And intermittent fasting is more, I think, more in line with the design of the body. Like thinking back even ancestrally, like I don't know where in history, like you were able to have 3 square meals a day at 8 o'clock, noon and 5:30. It just didn't happen in nature. So the longer the window in between eating, the greater the fat burning potential. So like 2 meals a day, let's say maybe you eat lunch and dinner. So you eat at noon and you eat at 6. Well, that's 6 hours of eating window in the day, but then you don't eat from 6 until noon the next day. That's a much longer stretch. So I don't know, my math is probably terribly off here, but I think that's like an 18, let's just say it's 18 hours. You got an 18-hour window of fasting, and that's where you've got great cleansing, great detoxing, and great fat burning ability is the longer you go in between eating. So I like how this recommends for extra like weight loss and hormonal balance is instead of doing 3 meals a day, you can even go to 2 meals a day. Newsflash, breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. I don't eat breakfast most days. But it's not more about the timing of the day as it is about this window of how long do you go in between your first meal and your last meal has a lot to do with your health and your weight and your hormonal balance. So I thought that was a good tip, going from 3 meals to 2 meals, or if you are going to do 3 meals, just tells you a healthier way to do it. That was on page 196, if you're wondering. Then it finishes up with a sample meal plan. Then the last of the book goes through all the recipes, which hopefully some of you have started trying some of these recipes. There's some great advanced plan and core plan recipes in there. And that's a lot of stuff. And believe me, I know we're at what, 55 minutes right here. And I tried to keep today short. So there's a lot of content in here, and the practical tips and go to, hopefully, or how to, I should say. Hopefully you've started implementing some of this stuff. Hopefully you're starting to see some results and some success. And hopefully this is helpful. That was part 3. That's the appendixes or the appendices. Next week, we're going to finish up the book. So we're going to do chapter 6, 7, and 8. So that is going to go from page 159 to 197. And that's going to be the whole book for us, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who've been with me every week, thanks so much for being a part of this. Yeah, we're going to finish it up. So next, excuse me, I told you the wrong pages. I told you this week's pages. Part 4, that'll be next week. That's going to be chapter 6, chapter 7, and chapter 8. So part 4 is going to be 97, page 97 to 156. I apologize. I messed that up before. Part 4 will be 97 to 156. That's going to be going through chapter 6 is on toxins. Chapter 7 is supplementation. And chapter 8 is mindset. So we're going to go through those 3 chapters next week. Tune in Friday at 2 p.m. So what's next Friday? Like May 29th. Friday, May 29th at 2 p.m. If you're watching this at a later date, all these videos are going to be on our Freedom Family Chiropractic Facebook page, or they're also on my YouTube channel, my Dr. Jake Shuppe YouTube channel, wherever you'd like to watch. If you have not seen the previous videos, go back. We've got part 1, part 2, part 3 today. Next week, we're finishing the book up with part 4. Hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you very soon.